We've got confirmations on new shows, returning shows. Okay, and then we've got Ladies of London coming back. But wait, it's an all-new cast. And then there's this one, Wife Swap, the Real Housewives Edition.
You take someone used to, I don't know, Beverly Hills rules and drop them into Potomac or Salt Lake City.
No mention of New York City or New Jersey in this particular announcement.
Andy Cohen's been dropping some hints, hasn't he?
He has, and you know, the seating chart immediately got everyone buzzing.
And Andy also mentioned some dark stuff coming up. He shared this little anecdote about Janet Caperna, school disagreement, that really nasty rumor Jesse supposedly spread. Ciara Miller was asked about Lexi Wood maybe coming back for season 10. Lexi saying Ciara and Jesse skipped her birthday, Ciara denying it on Watch What Happens Live. Heather McDonald responding to Teresa Giudice. And Teresa obviously was not happy about it being discussed. Siggy Flicker. She's been appointed to the Holocaust Museum board by Donald Trump.
It wasn't entirely out of the blue considering her alignment.
Shemaya is confused about Angela Oakley forgiving Porsha Williams for that comment about Charles Oakley, but not forgiving Shemaya for laughing at it.
The laugh felt like a bigger betrayal than Porsha's initial comment.
Stracke reacting to Garcelle Beauvais unfollowing her after Garcelle quit the show.
Oof.
Thomas Ravenel is going off on Patricia Altschul on X. Big time.
Oh boy.
Called Patricia the biggest scum in Charleston. Disgusting.
So some pretty big Bravo news has landed. We've got confirmations on new shows, returning shows, quite a bit to talk about.
Quite a shakeup, or maybe confirmation of their strategy.
Yeah, exactly. So in this video, we'll be talking about the new Real Housewives editions, that Shahs of Sunset spinoff, and, well, all the renewals too.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's kick off with the brand new one, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, set in the Ocean State, and sounds like they're really leaning into that tight-knit community vibe.
That's what stood out to me too. Tight-knit circle, deep roots, multi-generational families. In a place like Rhode Island, that's not just flavor text, you know?
Right. It probably means serious history.
Exactly. Like real history, real connections. So the drama might have deeper consequences. It's not like you can just avoid someone easily. Everyone's connected.
Good point. Okay, and then we've got Ladies of London coming back. But wait, it's an all-new cast.
Yeah, completely new. They're mentioning British blue bloods, ambitious American expats, and glamorous international socialites. So quite a mix.
That sounds like a recipe for something interesting. Clashing worlds, maybe?
Well, they specifically mentioned that clash, yeah. Between tradition and the fast-paced, globalized world. London is such a hub for that.
True.
And that idea that connections are currency, that probably plays out differently depending on whether you're old aristocracy or a new arrival trying to make your mark. It could be fascinating, actually.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Fans of Shahs of Sunset will be interested in this. The Valley Persian Style.
Right, with Reza, MJ, and Gigi.
Yep, Reza Farahan, Mercedes, MJ Javid, and Golnesa, Gigi, Gharachedaghi. They're highlighting their unbreakable bond.
Which, you know, we saw tested plenty on Shahs. Built on friendship, clashes, history, and that shared Persian culture is key.
So now they're in the Valley, next stage of life. The network says their world is bigger, their circle bolder, challenges more real.
Same core people, maybe, but different setting, older, maybe different priorities.
Yeah.
They tease it's not quieter, it's just more complicated. So same energy, maybe, just different problems. We'll see.
And then there's this one, Wife Swap, the Real Housewives Edition.
Okay, now that's a concept.
Right. A housewife stepping into another Real Housewives' shoes. Like from a different city entirely.
Yeah. It's kind of meta, isn't it? You take someone used to, I don't know, Beverly Hills rules and drop them into Potomac or Salt Lake City. It forces that comparison between the different franchise dynamics.
Would be funny. They promise laugh-out-loud moments and personal epiphanies.
Sure. And it directly asks that question, is the grass truly greener? But through the very specific lens of the Housewives universe.
Okay, and quickly, the renewals. Lots of familiar names back.
Yeah, let's see. Below Deck Bed, Below Deck Down Under.
Married to Medicine, Southern Charm, Southern Hospitality.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Orange County, Potomac, Salt Lake City. So the core franchises seem solid.
Definitely a strong showing for the established series.
It shows they know where their reliable hits are, doesn't it?
But it is interesting. No mention of New York City or New Jersey in this particular announcement.
Yeah, that's notable. Worth keeping an eye on, maybe.
So, looking at the bigger picture here, expanding Housewives, reviving Ladies of London, the Shahs follow-up.
It feels strategic, you know? They're tapping into new locations like Rhode Island, which offers a different kind of Housewives dynamic potentially. Then they're revisiting familiar territory, but with a twist, the Ladies of London reboot, the Shahs crew moving on.
Catering to the loyal fans while also trying to maybe broaden the appeal.
Seems like it. So for you listening, which of these really grabs your attention the most? Is it the new location, the revival, the spinoff, or maybe that wife swap idea?
Yeah, it feels like Bravo's leaning hard into what it does best. Drama, those aspirational lifestyle, like Dorit's closets and personalities you can't look away from.
There was some dark stuff. There was some dark stuff. I will say Jax's face has come back.
Okay, let's dive right into the Valley reunion. Andy Cohen's been dropping some hints, hasn't he?
He has. And, the seating chart immediately got everyone buzzing.
Always does. So Michelle Saniei was in the last chair, but Andy apparently said it means nothing, just limited chairs.
Yeah, that's what he claimed.
Hey.
Zach Wickham was also in the last chair. But then you had Jesse Lally, Michelle's ex, in the second seat, and Jax and Brittany right up front next to Andy.
So even if Andy says it means nothing, the optics are still there, right? People read into that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a visual cue for the audience, trying to figure out the hierarchy or who drove the drama. Putting Michelle there, given her divorce was central, definitely sparks theories.
Totally. And Andy also mentioned some dark stuff coming up. Vague, but makes you wonder what really went down.
Definitely. Sounds intense.
On a, slightly different note, he commented on Jax Taylor's appearance, said his face has come back, looks healthier since quitting cocaine.
Right. Contrasting it with his tweaked out look during filming, it's quite a direct comment on sobriety and appearance.
What do you make of that, a host being so, blunt about it?
I mean, Jax's struggles have been very public, part of the storyline. Andy pointing out a visible positive change. It just underscores how real these issues are for them, playing out on camera.
Good point. Next update we have about Andy. He shared this little anecdote about Janet Caperna asking if he was doing dinner with the Valley cast post-reunion, like he does with Summer House.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He explained the Summer House dinner is usually near his place in Manhattan, so it's easy. But after the Valley, he just needed to head back to New York.
It does give you a sense of maybe different vibes, different relationships with the cast.
Yeah.
The Summer House one sounds maybe a bit more established, more casual.
Could be. And circling back to the actual Valley drama, Michelle and Jesse's divorce, that was huge. The school disagreement, that really nasty rumor Jesse supposedly spread.
Yeah, really difficult stuff. Plus, the whole Jax and Brittany feud. And Jax talking openly about his addiction issues.
Sounds like they had a lot to unpack at that reunion. No shortage of heavy topics.
Definitely not. And airing all that personal tough stuff, it creates such a, complicated dynamic with viewers. Empathy on one side, intense judgment on the other.
For sure.
Honestly,
Next
this is kind of crazy. Like, I think we had a good time
Ciara
at this
Miller was
reunion.
asked about Lexi Wood maybe coming back for season 10.
And what was her take?
Pretty dismissive, actually. Says she doesn't care. She's used to people coming in and out. Seems a bit cool, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. That kind of indifference in reality TV can often, mask something else. Maybe trying to project strength or protect her spot in the group.
Right. And it comes after that back and forth they had recently. Lexi saying Ciara and Jesse skipped her birthday, Ciara denying it on Watch What Happens Live.
Oh, and didn't Lexi also say Ciara told her not to talk about her and Jesse on a podcast?
Yeah, the Vile Files. Lexi claimed Ciara said, don't say anything positive or negative. It's classic he said, she said, spilling out everywhere.
Which happens constantly now, right? So social media is like the second stage for all this drama. Blurs the lines completely.
Totally. She also wanted to clear up the Jesse Solomon thing. Says it's not romantic, just a misconception.
So platonic then.
And Ciara says she wants to stay on Summer House, feels she has still more things to tell. But she also described the season 9 reunion as having a ton of giggles. A totally different vibe.
That sounds better. Less intense than some reunions.
Apparently. But she also said she wants space from everyone until they film again, which honestly sounds pretty normal after a reunion.
Oh, completely. Reunions are draining, rehashing all that conflict. Even with giggles, you'd need a break to decompress before jumping back in.
Makes sense. And finally, on Summer House, Ciara's hoping for a new house. Says the current one feels kind of stale after nearly 4 years. Put it out there to the network.
Huh. You don't know. And the house itself is a big part of that show, isn't it? A new setting could genuinely shake things up, change the energy.
It really could. Okay, next update we have about Real Housewives of New Jersey. Heather McDonald responding to Teresa Giudice.
Ah, yes. This kicked off because Heather reported on Teresa and Luis's reported tax debt.
And Teresa obviously was not happy about it being discussed, which, is kind of understandable when it's personal finances.
It's tricky territory for public figures, that line between private business and public persona, especially when things hit the news.
So Heather talked about it on her podcast, Juicy Scoop. Acknowledged Teresa's anger, but basically defended it as covering pop culture news that was everywhere.
Okay, the standard, it's news defense.
Pretty much. And Heather mentioned Teresa's daughter Gia chiming in, saying Heather shouldn't have discussed it because of some past lunch in St. Barth's where Luis paid.
Oh, bringing up past favors. That adds another layer, like suggesting disloyalty.
Kind of, yeah. Heather's recollection was it was just a group thing. Luis ordered champagne, and she hasn't had much contact since. She stressed her show is comedy, interview, pop culture. They make fun of things, and her guest Kate Casey was also part of it.
So framing it as commentary, not just straight reporting. Does that comedy angle really shield you, though?
That's the question, isn't it? It sets a certain expectation, maybe less serious, but you're still talking about real people and potentially sensitive stuff. Accuracy and impact still matter.
True.
Interestingly, Heather said she wants Teresa and Luis to stay on TV, even suggested the tax issues might just be an accounting error. And she said Luis was pleasant and fun.
Trying to smooth things over a bit.
Maybe. But she did also point out the, let's say, interesting contrast between these financial questions and Teresa's whole brand, which is built on that aspirational luxury lifestyle.
Yeah, that's where it gets complicated for reality stars. When the perceived image clashes with reported reality, especially with finances, viewers react strongly. Skepticism, sometimes sympathy, sometimes accusations. And with Teresa's history.
It definitely brings back old narratives.
For sure.
Next update, we have about another RHONJ face, but a former one, Siggy Flicker. She's been appointed to the Holocaust Museum board by Donald Trump.
Wow, okay. That's quite a significant appointment, bridging reality TV and a major historical institution.
Yeah, Trump announced it on X, listed Siggy's name first, said the new members are strong supporters of Israel.
And Siggy's response.
She reposted it, said it was a privilege and honor to represent and never forget, added Israeli and American flags. Very enthusiastic.
Right. Remind us, Siggy was seasons 7 and 8, left after clashing with Margaret Joker.
That's right. Known for being quite emotional and having strong opinions.
And she's been a vocal Trump supporter for a while, hasn't she? Mar-a-Lago visits, campaign stuff.
Yes, definitely. And there's also the connection with her stepson, Tyler Campanella, involved in January 6th, then pardoned by Trump.
Okay, so those political ties and that history certainly provide context for this board appointment. It wasn't entirely out of the blue, considering her alignment.
Seems like it. And just for background, the Holocaust Memorial Council, which oversees the museum, was set up back in 1980, a really vital institution.
Absolutely crucial work they do in education and remembrance.
Okay. Next update we have about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Shamea Morton apparently had a bit of a financial scare.
Oh, what happened there?
She admitted questioning her husband Gerald about their money after an unaired scene. Cynthia Bailey had a profit at her Bailey Q, and this profit apparently suggested potential financial trouble for Shamea.
Wow, a prophet's prediction causing real-world anxiety.
Shamea said she checked their accounts, worried about downsizing, private school, but then clarified it was ultimately just accounting, like maybe a misunderstanding or a temporary dip.
Okay, so a false alarm, thankfully.
Shamea is confused about Angela Oakley forgiving Porsha Williams for that comment about Charles Oakley, but not forgiving Shamea for laughing at it.
Ah, yes. That felt uneven, didn't it? Shamea brought it up on the after show.
She did. Said she was shocked Angela and Porsha made up so fast, felt like she was being unfairly targeted.
Maybe Angela felt closer to Shamea, expected more loyalty, so the laugh felt like a bigger betrayal than Portia's initial comment.
Kelly Farrell agreed Angela was harder on Shamea, and Shamea's point was, hey, if it were reversed, she'd have a sense of humor. Said her laugh wasn't malicious, given how close they were then.
Shamea says she didn't mean harm, but Angela clearly felt the impact, the lack of support.
And Angela's explanation on her after-show segment was basically that. Angela expected wives in their circle to check friends who make comments about husbands. It was about that loyalty pact. Okay, next update we have about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sutton Stracke reacting to Garcelle Beauvais unfollowing her after Garcelle quit the show.
Oof, that friendship seemed so solid for a long time. Garcelle was often Sutton's main defender.
And this seems tied to the reunion, right? The accusation about Garcelle implying PK was involved in the robbery, and Sutton maybe not defending her strongly enough, prioritizing Kyle.
That was the perception, yeah.
Yeah.
That Garcelle felt hung out to dry by Sutton in a really critical moment. Reunions can be friendship minefields.
Brutal. So Sutton went on Jeff Lewis Live and talked about the unfollowing, said she doesn't really track followers, emphasized how very close she and Garcelle were.
Downplaying it a bit.
Maybe. She also pointed out Garcelle still follows Kathy Hilton and Jennifer Tilly, who aren't main cast. Trying to make a point there, perhaps?
Could be. But if Garcelle's unfollow was a deliberate statement, Sutton, seeming nonchalant, might not help smooth things over.
Good point. Sutton also shared that Garcelle told her on announcement day, "I couldn't talk to anybody because I knew that you would convince me not to leave."
Wow, that sounds like Garcelle felt Sutton wouldn't just support her decision but try to change it. Jeff Lewis thought Garcelle was most hurt by Sutton.
Yeah, it implies a real lack of faith from Garcelle in that moment, a deep disappointment.
Definitely sounds like it.
Sutton did apologize for hurting Garcelle unintentionally, hopes to rectify things later, says they need a really long, thoughtful conversation that's private. She called Garcelle a very good friend she loves dearly.
So she wants to fix it. Is that possible after such a public falling out?
It really depends, doesn't it? If they can both genuinely listen and understand each other privately, but the public nature of it all, the underlying issues, it's a tough road back.
Very tough.
Okay, last stop, Southern Charm. Thomas Ravenel is going off on Patricia Altschul on X. Big time.
Oh boy. Here we go again. What's he saying now?
Accusing her of spreading lies that he keeps the kids from Kathryn Dennis. Called Patricia the biggest scum in Charleston. Disgusting. Really harsh stuff.
Wow, okay. This feud is definitely back on.
He also made a point of saying he's single and claimed Kathryn doesn't take even a tiny fraction of her custody time, contrary to what people think, trying hard to control that narrative.
He is very publicly trying to discredit Patricia and shift blame regarding the kids onto Kathryn.
And he claims these lies all come from Patricia, who he says has zero friends in Charleston, just really inflammatory attacks.
Yeah, attacking her character, her social standing. It goes way beyond the custody stuff. Sounds like deep resentment.
And it's wild because, remember, he's attacked her son Whitney before, then publicly apologized to both of them, saying Patricia had always been his friend.
Right, so this is a complete 180 again. That on-again, off-again volatility seems to define their whole dynamic.
Fragile truces, easily broken.
Seems that way.
If you want to stay up to date with all the Real Tea, make sure you subscribe to Real Tea TV and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Thank you for watching this video. See you tomorrow.